diversified international investment options and to consolidate their global assets on an open architecture platform. Chinwe holds a master's degree in economics, and she's a certified speaker, a trainer, a coach, and mentor with the John Maxwell team. She's also a learning and development professional with Learning and Development Network International. Wow. We have an expert in our midst today. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Chinwe Eniteke Chukwunwokoye as she takes us on steps to attaining financial freedom. Madam Chinwe, please, if you can hear me, the floor is yours. We are ready when you are.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Binta. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, ma'am.
It's always a pleasure to be in your midst. This will be the second time I'm meeting with your people. I was here 2 years ago. I remember June, yes, 2021. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for having us here again. Tonight, like Binta said, we'll be talking on the steps to financial freedom and independence. What we'll be looking at today is, first of all, understanding what these terms mean, and then we'll look at the steps we need to take to achieve financial freedom and independence. Next slide, please. Do I present my slides myself?
If you have your slides, please do go ahead.
Yes, I do. You know, they asked me to send it, so I thought I do. I'll project now. It's okay. I do.
Okay, that's
I'll
fine.
project now. So I wanted to be sure who would. Okay. All right. Can you see my slides, please?
We can see your slides, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll just go through this briefly. In the next 30 minutes, look at what financial independence and freedom means, the steps or the significance of all these words, whether we call it financial freedom, independence, and all that. Why are we talking about it? It's all about our financial health, you know, having a very sound financial well-being. And then I'll take you through the 6 steps to financial independence, and we'll take some questions and we'll move on to the next session. Now, in the face of the current realities we have, just like our session chairperson spoke earlier, and then Binta alluded to it as well, we are in an interesting phase of life, not just in Nigeria, across the world. In Nigeria alone, we've seen an all-time high inflation. High inflation, it's amazing. And for people that work in the oil and gas, I also pity you because I feel what you feel. Most of the pressure comes to us because people believe that, oh, these ones have the money, right? And our people are going through so much. High inflation, very volatile exchange rates. If there's somebody that will talk to you about exchange rates, I am in a very good position to do that because our business is focused on international investment. So our clients are facing that bite. It's not a good place to be in. So high inflation rate, volatile exchange rate, you know, there's this scare of another pandemic. They're saying China, sort yourself. They said they've seen another thing, whether a chicken has kissed a monkey this time and all that, you know. So we have all these things all across the world. So every time people are wondering, what's next? What am I going to do? There's so much uncertainty. You can't even travel on the roads in our country because of the high rate of insecurity. Even when you want to travel, the cost of transportation is so high. When you look at all these things and you have all these questions going through your mind, the solution is what we're looking at this evening. Because like Susie Oman said in her quote, that a big part of financial freedom is having your heart and mind free from worry about the what-ifs of life. All these things we're talking about is the what-ifs of life. The question is, what next? If this issue of the suspect of flu in China comes again into the globe, are we going to have another shutdown? You know, we have all those questions. The what ifs of life talk about all the unexpected events that happen to us. Loss of job. The last pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their lives. Between the last time I was here and today, I lost my mom. I lost my grandmother. So I've had a lot of losses unplanned. At least my grandmother, years old, will say, okay, fine, 93, fine to go. But my mom just died 13 days after. These are events that I never planned. I had your session. The next month was my wedding. While I was planning my wedding in June, after I had your session, my grandmother died. Then I had the wedding in July, which is a big event. I planned that one, so it wasn't unexpected. And then we buried my grandmother in August. 13 days after, 1st of September, my mother died at 68. So these events will keep coming to us. Loss of job, change of jobs, relocation, all those what ifs will keep coming because they are unpredicted. You don't know when they will happen. But the good news is that if you have your financial life in order, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, then you will be able to navigate all these things when they happen so that they don't come hit you with the negative impact that is supposed to come to you. And that's why I commend the team for, you know, always creating the opportunity to talk to people on issues about their finances. Okay, so well done to the team that organized this. Now, before I go on, like I mentioned earlier, I was here. Where is my, okay. The last time I came here, I spoke extensively on financial planning and the 7 core areas of financial planning. I don't know if there's anybody in our midst tonight that was at that event. Please, if you were there, can you type a 1 for me? Let me know who we have today. If you were at that training 2 years ago where I spoke extensively on financial planning and wealth creation, can you just type a 1 or yes in the chat box? Anyone? Was anyone here? I haven't seen any response. Okay, so I assume that we don't have, nobody was here. Okay, good. So I wanted to find out if anybody was here and if anybody took any decision on it. But fine, since there's nobody, we'll move on. While preparing for this presentation, I came across a very disturbing poll. One of the financial institutions in Nigeria did a survey on a group of people aged between 25 and 70 years. And these people earn an average of 100,000 to 500,000 monthly income. So they're not the low class, they're in the middle class. And when they did this personal finance survey, this is the report that came out of it. Very worrisome. When they looked at their emergency fund, for people who don't know what emergency fund means, emergency fund is that fund that you have set aside as a safety net for you and your family in case of emergency. For instance, if you lose your job, the time between when you lost your job and when you get another job, maybe 3 to 6 months, you should be able to feed your family. So you need to set aside between 3 to 6 months. Most times, I recommend 9 months of your monthly savings somewhere as an emergency fund in an investment that you can easily convert to cash. This is what they asked them. How many of you have that emergency fund saved up? Painfully, only 5.6% of the people that took that survey have up to 1 year safety net. So if anything happened to them and they lost their main income stream, which like you and I, the earnings we get on a monthly basis from our salary, it can only carry 5.6% of that, the number of people they did that survey on. 10% said they have saved up 6 months of their monthly pay somewhere. And then 36% said they have 3 months of their monthly pay. Let me break this down for us. My monthly pay, I'm not giving you my full figure. For instance, if your monthly pay is 100,000, not monthly pay, sorry. If your monthly expenses, if you spend 300,000 every month on yourself and your family, your emergency fund should be between 900,000 to 1.8 million, which is 3 months to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Now, 36% of the people surveyed said they had only 3 months of that. And then a whooping 48% said they don't have an emergency fund. You see the reason why the pressure is on us. Family, friends, relations always come back to you, believing that anytime they come, you have something to give to them, because they have not taken the time to plan their lives and set aside something to fall back on when the need arises. The same group, when they asked them another question, the money you earn on a monthly basis, is it sufficient to meet your needs? Needs are the basic things: food, accommodation, feeding, shelter, that's accommodation, clothing for you and your family. 62% said it's not enough. And then 32% said it's just barely enough. This is not a good place to be for anyone. And this is a survey conducted on the middle class in Nigeria, people earning between 100,000 and 500,000 per month. And then when they asked them the question on insurance, 79% said they don't have any form of insurance. So that's 79%. If they are breadwinners in their homes and something happens to them, their family would hang and dry. We heard the story of Mr. Ibu. Everybody is peddling it around. People are making money from it, writing on social media and everything, and getting all the likes, and the social media is paying them. And I sit and wonder, those people writing all those things, have they taken time to work on their own life? That's why what we are talking about today is very important. And I would like to start with this first poll. I don't know if the gentleman that is supposed to help us push up the first poll, yes, to start with this first poll, to ask you 3 questions. You're not going to, nobody's going to see your name. It's just the answer, and then we'll look at it. The first question is this: how much do you have in your emergency fund? If you have an estimate or an idea of how much you spend on yourself and your family on a monthly basis, oh my God, the poll is going on and none is, oh my God. Interesting. Okay. How much do you have on emergency fund? Interesting. Okay, good. So on the first question, 8 out of 15 people that answered said they don't have any form of emergency fund. 3 out of 15 said they have 1 to 3 months. No. We're still on poll 1. Please don't go to poll 2. Poll 1. Poll 1. Don't go to poll 2. It's not yet time for the second poll. Oh dear. I think we should just, let's see the result on poll 1. I can't even see the result. Can you help me share the result? Let's see. Poll 1. Yes, good. 8 out of the 15 people that responded said they don't have, that's 53% of us here, don't have any savings in case of any form of emergency. It's not a good place to be. And 8 out of 15 is like 50% of the people that took part in this survey. Now, 3 out of 15, 20% said they have at least 1 to 3 months. And then 6 to 1%, only one person said they have up to 6 months. And then one person said they have up to 9 months. And 2 people have more than 1 year. So beyond this survey that I have just shared with us, individually here, we are also exposed. That's what it means. If anything happens to us, our families are exposed. In the second question, do you know the sum assured on your insurance? 8 out of 10 people said no. And I understand, because it's the business of the company to do it. But you can ask questions. You need to know if it's adequate for you or your family. And then the third question says, does your current earnings meet your current needs? And 3 people said yes. 7 people said no. This is a very worrying situation. And that's why it's important for us to, how can we take this down? Please, can you take down okay, let me minimize it because we'll get to it. It's important for us to take decisions and talk about all these things. Let's move on. Now, if we're talking about financial planning, we'll start by defining financial independence. What does financial independence mean? Financial independence is that state, that point where you get to, where you have enough wealth and you've accumulated enough income through your assets and investments to sustain your current needs and wants. That's what we call your current lifestyle, without needing to work actively. So all these 9 to 5 jobs we're doing, before you can say you've attained financial independence, you would have accumulated enough passive income. Passive income is income that comes in through a lot of streams that you don't necessarily have to be there or working it out for you to make that money. Without having to wait for end of the month, oh, when are they paying us? Paycheck is coming and all that. That's what passive income means. When you have invested, returns from your investments and all that. So when you're at that point where the money you make on monthly basis from whether your salaries, but mainly from investments, returns on investments, rental income, interest from fixed deposits, dividend incomes and all that, is able to meet all your needs, you can say that you have attained financial independence. And financial independence is the stepping stone to financial freedom. All right? Financial independence is the stepping stone to financial freedom. Now, for people that want a shortcut, because some people will say, how much do I need to have to say that I have attained financial independence? For people that need that shortcut, there is a financial independence number. The way to calculate it is to say, my annual expenses multiplied by 25. Now, if you have that figure in investments, even if it's in raw cash, you can say you are financially independent. Let me give you an example. If in a year you spend 10 million, including everything, trips, rent, clothing, feeding, school fees, everything, you spend 10 million. Your financial independence number will be 10 million times 25. So if you have 250 million somewhere, whether in investments, real estates that pay you dividends and rental income, shares that pay dividends, you know, fixed income, fixed investments, or any kind of portfolio, equities that, you know, when they grow when they appreciate in price, you can sell them down. You accumulate all your assets, and then you say, oh, I'm worth 250 million. Then you can say, I am financially independent. So if you need this shortcut to ascertain where you would hit or what number you would hit to say you're financially independent, you need to say to yourself, how much do I spend now? And then you multiply that figure by 25. So anytime we're talking about financial independence, what we are trying to talk about is a state where you can say, I am able to live my life irrespective of my current earnings from job. I don't need this, my 9 to 5, to be able to maintain my lifestyle, to be able to take care of myself and my family. You know, I am secured to a large extent. Now, let's look at what financial freedom means. Financial freedom is the next level of financial independence. It is a state of abundance where the money you have is so much that it doesn't only meet your needs and wants or sustain your lifestyle, but you have so much that you can now begin to pursue your dreams, to live the life of your dreams. I heard the chairperson saying, oh, what she's going to do to be able to enjoy her life, to live a better life. Now, when you attain financial freedom, you would have amassed enough wealth that will take care of all you need and your family, both your needs, your wants, and everything. And then you begin to look at how to drive your passion. Some of us want to do the Formula One ride, but we can't because right now we need to work to take care of our families and all that. But when you attain this level, you'll be able to do that. Some of us want to change the world positively, help people, help the less privileged. This is the point where it's not as if you can't do it when you're financially independent. No, but this is the point where you have all you need. You're not thinking about work or anything. There is no money constraint. Some financially independent people, when they want to travel, they bring out calculator. Financially free people don't bother about money. They tell their money, even financially independent people tell their money what to do for them. You know, so when you attain financial freedom, you're at that point where you are able to live the life of your dreams. Interestingly, it's less than 2% of the world population that have attained financial freedom. Is there a shortcut to financial freedom? No, financial freedom doesn't have a number. Because what financial freedom means to you might be different from what it means to me. Why? Because we have different tastes. We have different lifestyles. Some people are prudent. Some people are minimalist. Some people like the luxury life. So I can't say this is my number and you can't say this is your number. But when you talk about financial freedom, you're talking about flexibility. You have no money constraint. You're able to chase whatever you need to chase. You're able to achieve whatever you want to achieve, provided that it requires money to do that. So this is what financial independence and financial freedom means. People will ask, is there a difference between financial independence and financial freedom? Because these words are used interchangeably. Yes, there's a distinct difference because when you attain financial freedom, you've gotten to that level of stability that is good for you and your family. You're able to meet your current lifestyle, sustain your current lifestyle without relying on any form of, employment or paychecks. But at the point of financial freedom, you have gone beyond just maintaining your current lifestyle to having so much to help other people. I will encourage everybody, if you can, to take a screenshot of this particular slide. Anybody that wants to attain financial independence, please take a screenshot of this, print it out when you get to work or home, and paste it where you will see it and read it on daily basis until you hit your financial number. Financially independent people work to earn money. And that money they earn, they use it to buy their needs and wants. But a portion of that money, they invest it, they save it. And that money they save and invest, they put it back to work. That's the cycle that it goes. It moves from here to income, savings and investments, and then the money begins to work for you. Until your money starts working for you, you will not be able to attain financial independence. And what does this do for you? When your money starts working for you and it grows to a point, it gives you freedom. Freedom to enjoy life. Freedom to live the life of your dreams. This is what we are talking about this evening. Why do we need financial freedom, financial independence? There are numerous reasons. There is nothing as good as having a balance in life. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. You buy something for 1 naira today. 3 days later, it's gone to 5 naira. It's gone to 4 naira. You can't even forecast the change that you would see. The other day, I was listening to the news and they were talking about medication. Medication, that inhaler has gone from, I don't know if it's 5,000 to 30. You know, it's so astronomical, the change and everything. But for a financially independent and financially free person, you know that irrespective of the hike in price of these things, you're able to meet your family needs. It gives you peace of mind. It's time for school fees. January, a lot of you will be under pressure. Family and friends will be coming to you. Give me loan, pay for my children. But if you have your own house in order, you won't be under pressure. You'll be able to meet these needs. So talking about positive or healthy financial well-being gives us peace of mind. It gives us the security that we need for ourselves and our family. Oh, you need to go to hospital. It's not a problem. The HMO will take care of it. There's an accident. It's not a problem. We can take care of it. The medical side is being taken care of, but the insurance is paying us money to take care of our monetary needs, pending when we come out of that phase. It gives you a level of security, flexibility. I've talked about it. You're able to live the life that you desire. It gives you options. Most of us are working in jobs that we are not happy at, doing the job, but we don't have a choice because we need to meet our family needs. So we have to go back there. We have to show up. We have to do it, even when it's affecting our health and everything. But when you get to that level of financial independence, your passive income is funding your lifestyle. So you can choose to do that work or choose to do a work that is aligned to what you want in life. It gives you power to negotiate. You want to travel out, you want to get a new job, you have that strength. And it gives you fulfillment. When you achieve financial freedom, you're able to impact lives. That is what everybody wants. And when you touch other people's life, you're satisfied. Now let's go to the main business of the day. How can we achieve financial independence and freedom? There are 6 stages that people are expected to go through. And in those stages, as we go through those 6 stages, I will show you the steps you need to take to get from one level to the other and someday get to the level of financial independence. The first stage is the people we call the financially at risk people. Everyone that said, my money cannot take care of my current needs. they are financially at risk. And when you are at risk, your health is at risk, your family is at risk because you're not at peace. Anxiety every time. What am I going to do? How am I going to meet the next bill? How am I going to feed my children? Am I going to take them out of one school or the other? What do you need to do to move away from this position? This is a position where most people are. Even from that survey that I saw, it shows that most people that even earn fairly are at this state. What do you need to do to move out of this state? First of all, you need to review your finances. When we talk about reviewing our finances, we have to ask questions. Have you evaluated your current finances to say, where am I? How much do I earn? How do I spend my money? A lot of people are just focused on their job. Once the salary comes, they don't look at, oh, how am I going to spend? Anything anybody throws at them, they spend. You need to look at it. When last did you look at your bank statement? When last did you even consider, do you even have a working budget? Have you even established your net worth? You know, some years ago, somebody said to me, I wanted to get on, it was last year. I wanted to get on the property ladder in the UK, and I wanted to get a loan. And I spoke to a company that does that stuff. And then the lady said to me, let's calculate your net worth. By the time I finished calculating my net worth in Naira, she just quickly converted it to dollars, and it made a mess of everything for me. When last did you calculate your net worth? What's your number? What's net worth? Assets minus liabilities. How much do you earn? How much investments do you have? Total figure minus what is taking money out of your pocket. How much do you spend? How much loan are you sitting on? Review your finances. That's the first stage to start. When you've reviewed your finances, you work towards reducing expenses. We spend money on a lot of frivolities. If you're at this stage, your money, your income is not able to meet your needs, you need to cut your coats. If you have to change your children's school to a less expensive one for now, for you to come out of the woods, please do it. You don't have to buy every asoebi for the ladies. You don't have to do that. Reduce your expenses. And then the next thing you need to do is to create a budget.
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't know, we just have 5 more minutes. So I don't know.
Okay. So I'll just rush through it then. Create a budget. Budget tells your money where to go to, how much comes in, how much goes out. Then save intentionally and then increase your income stream. The next stage is financial stability. What is the main thing you need to do here? When you have come out of the woods, at the level of financial stability, you're saying that your income is able to just meet your needs. When you knock the two off, it's equal to 0. Needs minus money minus income minus expenses equal to 0. You are at that level. But you still have some kind of loans. What do you need to do? You need to build your emergency fund. When you have adjusted your numbers, you will begin to see little monies to build the emergency fund. And then you need to set clear financial goals. And in all of this, you need to start thinking of how to increase your income stream. If you're working in a job that is not paying you well, can you get a better job that will pay you more than you currently earn? Can you do other things that will help you get more money? And then from that financial step, the next step is that level of where you say you're debt-free. What do you need to do at this stage? Pay down your loans. And when we talk about paying down your loans, prioritize the loans that are high interest paying. And pay down your loans as quickly as possible. From there, you go to the next step, which is the financially secure stage. When you're able to take down your loans, you've built income, you are saving, you have that emergency fund, you can begin to talk about investing and diversifying your investments. You can look at the insurance you have. Do you need to add more? What is your health insurance like? What is the life insurance? Does it protect you and your family? And then you can talk about planning for retirement. From there, you can now move to the next level, which is the financial independence level. Once you hit this stage where your earnings, especially from your passive income, can take care of you and your family, you start thinking of protecting your wealth. And from here, you would move to the last level, which is the financial freedom level. Now, just to refresh on these 7 core areas of financial planning that I spoke about the last time, for those that nobody said they were here at that presentation, when you take care of these 7 core areas of your life and take the necessary decisions in these 7 core areas, you will definitely attain financial independence over time. Life insurance, health insurance, emergency fund, build it, planning for your retirement. There is a structure to all these things. Planning for children's education. Most of us start from investment. Anything you acquire as investment without protecting yourself and your family is at risk. Because if anything goes wrong with your health, your life, or anything, that investment will be exposed. And then wrapping up all you have, protecting it so that your beneficiaries, your dependents, will be able to get it in due time with a will and trust. And in all that you're doing, you should aim to do what? Hedge against currency depreciation. The volatility has finished our currency. You should aim in your investments to beat inflation. Inflation at over 27%, it's unheard of. You should always look at diversifying your portfolio. And you can't do all these things on your own. You have your core strength. You need to work with an advisor. We won't do any of those polls anymore because of our time. But like a wise man said, money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. If you do not tell your money where to go and what to do, it will rule you. And when money rules you, it becomes a terrible master. But when you plan your finances by taking the necessary steps in these 7 core areas, you would become the master of your money and money will serve you very well. Building wealth, attaining financial independence and freedom is a marathon, is a long-term journey. You must have the mindset and plan for it. It's not a sprint. So we need discipline, we need grit, we need consistency to be able to achieve that. And like Robert Kiyosaki said, it's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard your money works for you, and how many generations you keep it for that matter. Thank you very much. I'll take the questions from here.
Wow, thank you very much, Chinwe. That was packed. I mean, it made me start asking myself a few questions. Do I know my financial independence number? I think I need to go and calculate that. So let me know where I am and how much I need to make first. Net worth, creating your net worth, knowing your net worth, reviewing your finances and creating a budget. I mean, I create budgets, but sticking to the budgets is a problem. Thank you so much, Chinwe, for sharing your knowledge. It's been great. It's been packed, and we have a few comments in the comment section. I mean, Ofure has taken notes that it's not every Asoebi that she should buy. So that's great. So thank you very much, Ofure. It shows that you have learned something. So we have a comment from NWC. It says that it appears that the way forward is to really reach out to multiple streams of income as a way out of the quagmire. Indeed. So we thanks for all your comments, and thanks so much for listening. Please, we are in the Q&A section now. If you have any questions, please do indicate by raising your hands, and you'll be called upon to unmute and you can speak. Or you can just type in your questions in the comment section, and Chinwe will be very happy to answer. So we have a question here, and it's from Aurelio Ataja, and he says, should your emergency fund be in an investment since it is an emergency, or it should be left as cash in the bank?
It's a very, very brilliant question, right? I mean, what's the difference between your cash in bank and a fixed deposit that you can always unlock, and what you would, if they're going to charge anything, they're going to charge it on the interest and not on your principal. So the difference is that if it's in a fixed deposit and when you want to unlock it, you would earn, if you leave it in your cash, in your savings, your savings account, if you have a savings account that earns interest, yes, you can keep it there. But if, let me take this, let me explain it in this way. If you start building a 1 million naira emergency fund and all you can set aside on monthly basis is 20,000, you can start it up by putting it in your savings account. So you put month 1, 20,000. By the 5th month, you already have 50,000 plus whatever rate, interest rate, if that savings account pays interest rate, not something, or whatever interest rate that has accumulated. But it will be very unwise for you in month 6 to still push it into that savings account. That month 6, you can now negotiate and say, if I put this in a fixed deposit for the next 3 months, knowing that I'm also accumulating again, maybe I will earn higher rates. Then you put it there. Then if by the end of the year, these emergencies have not occurred, and because of your prudence, you've built beyond 1 million, you have 1.5, you don't leave it in that savings. You can look at it and say, oh, I've accumulated something good. Can I do 50-50? Let me put 50 of it in a 3-month federal government bond that hence earns higher returns. All these things are liquid investments. When we talk about liquid investments, are things that you can easily convert to cash. So yes, start off with the savings. But while you're putting it in the savings, as it grows, you can't, the only time, let me not leak my secret, but I'll say it will be useful to somebody. The only time your emergency fund would make sense leaving it in a regular account, whether current or savings, is when you have your emergency fund, when you convert it to foreign currency, which is what I've done for the better part of my life, you know. So when I convert my Naira to USD and then I put in my offshore account, right? So I'm not supposed to be, I'm very patriotic, but I'm just telling you, the only time it makes sense to leave it in a savings or current account is when it's in a foreign currency. Because when you bring that, you put $100, when you bought $100 at 160 Naira, and you bring back that $100 today, just $100 today. Someone said to me, one of my family relations was in a very dire need, and I knew it was breaking them. And they needed, I just looked at that money. I said, okay, I've built more than I need. Can I take out this from that without the local ones? And I just took it. It didn't pinch me. I didn't feel it. And when they finished, they gave me back my money. I returned. I mean, so that's when it will make sense leaving it in just that account. But when you're starting off, start off in a savings account. But please don't have any ATM on that account because of temptation.
Thank you very much, Chinwe.
They also have, you can do all these apps. I don't recommend any, so nobody will call me and say you said, but do your due diligence. There are other investments that are secured, savings kind of investment with, don't do massive returns. Please, if somebody gives you a massive return that is way, way, way above what bank can give you, run away. Run away.
Thank you very
I hope
much.
that helps. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'm very sure that the ASCA has taken in the knowledge, and thanks for those nuggets. I mean, it's great, and then sharing your little secrets with us as well. Thank you. We have a hand up from Dare.
Okay.
Please, Dare, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Ma, for the wonderful presentation. I've actually learned a lot from all you've said. Just a quick question from me, Ma. For fresh graduates like myself, of course, we've always heard about we investing, even if it's all we earn in, acquiring knowledge and skills and all. But now hearing about the talks of emergency funds and the other aspects of it, how do we now strike a balance? What would be your best advice for us? Should we just go solely into spending all we have in acquiring knowledge and the skill set needed in the world we are today, or we still have to set aside some funds? So I just want to get that aspect clear.
Well, Dare, I'll say congratulations. You're one of the luckiest people on this platform because you're starting off, right? I wish somebody told me what I'm telling you when I started off. Okay, so congratulations to you. You can't spend, you must, that's where the beauty of budget comes in. If I show you I'm not going to show you my budget. I've leaked enough secret. So if I show you my budget, I have my budget for education. It's a percentage of my earning. I try to put at least 5% of my money in that box. I have my income jars. That's what I call it, Chinwe's income jars, right? So the income jar for education and learning is 5% of what I earn. So that when I want to do international, any kind of education, any kind, local, anything, I don't really have to say, oh, office pay for it, because there are some things you want to learn that office don't have to pay. So don't put all your money there. You have to live. You have to live first. So the emergency fund is very important. You're going to marry tomorrow, Dara, if you're not married, and you're going to have children. Are you going to put all your money in learning? Yes, when you acquire those skills, it positions you to price yourself better. But most of those skills are also very available online, free of charge. And when you finish them, you just pay a token to get a certificate. Look at it, think about it. But the ones that you really need to pay money for, you can do that. But don't narrow your mind down. You're starting off in life. And one thing I will charge you, Dari, one thing I'll charge you is from tonight, ensure and endeavor to save at least 10% of your income. Come rain, come shine. Make it a habit if you're not married, such that even when you marry, 10% of that income. And there are good investments, mutual funds, that when you throw in those 10%, not the portion of your emergency fund, the savings portion, that you throw in that 10%, benefit of compounding interest. By the time you turn back 20 years from today, you will be grateful that you came here. Always do that. That's the beauty of budgeting. Tell your money, this portion goes here. This portion goes here. I have the portion for gifts so that people will not drive me out of this world, because the demands are mind-blowing. I'm sure most of you, or all of you here, the ones that are not newbies, all of you here are facing it. People think you're the only ones that will fund their lifestyle. If you do not have a cap, you will spend all, and you won't even be having fun. They will be having fun off your money. So Darren, my advice is have a portion for learning and development. Have that portion for savings, but please make sure that 10% of your income you're saving it and investing it, apart from your emergency fund. You'll be glad you did it 10, 15, 20, and put it in an investment that is reliable. All the mutual funds, make sure is licensed and regulated by a regulatory body. When people not tell you, oh, there's this fund. When they tell you a fund and throw a fund at you, please ask them, who is regulating this fund? Is it CBN? Is it Securities and Exchange Commission? Is the NICOM insurance the regulators? If they are not, it doesn't matter how sweet those funds are in. Run away, you will lose your money. But you enjoy the benefit of compounding interest when you share your money or divide it in that light. Don't put will you eat certificates? Eat certificate. It's good to develop yourself, but please also live a life. And let me just add this: when people are doing budget, I have my income jar for fun, because you must intentionally enjoy your life. You must if you don't, people will still collect that money from you with stories that touch. And when you watch them, they are having fun, but you are not enjoying yourself. I hope it helps you, Darren.
Thank you very much, Chinwe. I'm very sure Dari has gotten that and great help from him. We have another hand up, but please bear with me.
No. So, Binta, we can't take any other questions based on time. Chinwe, I really want to thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. In fact, I'm telling you now that we're going to call you again in the new year to please. We need you to actually help guide us. You have given us real life practical examples on how we should manage our funds. And it's really important for us to understand that there are things we don't have to inconvenience ourselves so much to please people. So thank you very, very much. I really learned a lot from your presentation, and definitely we're bringing you back again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ma. Is it okay if I share my contact details, or you will share?
Yes.
Okay, because this is what we do in our company. Let me not, it's in the slides I sent. My contact details is the first one, and then my colleagues. My telephone number is 08033127821. You feel free to reach me if you want to reach me. My email is chinwe.nite@theprofingroup.com. So we do financial planning, and then we help people, put together their lives. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much. I'm sure if we were face to face with you, you would hear the applause right now. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. Please do bear with us because of time. We can't take all the questions, but please do well and feel free to direct them to Chinwe. She has shared her contact details, and then she'll be happy to answer. And now we will be moving on, and I will leave you in the hands of my able co-moderator, who is Daniel Ekeke, who will take us through the career guidance workshop. Daniel, we are ready when you are.
Thank you very much, Binta, for such a wonderful session. Please confirm you can hear me, Binta.
I can hear you, Daniel. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Madam Chinwe, once again for teaching us how to save and, what to take importance as regards our finance. And, without further ado, we would also go on straight into our career guidance workshop. And remember, it's the new year. There's going to be a lot of changes. A lot of us will be, getting into new roles, and some persons are looking forward to, acing big interviews and landing the dream job, between now and the new year as well. And we, thought it wise, to have this career guidance workshop. And today we'll be having someone who is skilled, a HR with years of experience, speaking to us. Right away, I'll just go on to introduce our speaker, who would then go on to talk to us about excelling in interviews. Tamunom Yete Orambo is our speaker for today. He's an energy professional with subsurface and HRO at Shell. He's an energy professional with a rare blend of training and experience in subsurface, geoscience, engineering, and human resource management with the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, and has been with the company since 2015. He currently works as a project delivery advisor for wells, reservoir, and facility management. Mr. Tamunom Yete Orambo has a background in physics from the Rivers State University and an MSc in exploration geophysics from the University of Leeds, United Kingdom, courtesy of a Shell scholarship. He has passion for continuous improvement, technical excellence, and creating value. Outside of work, Mr. Miete likes to unwind with interesting TV series or movies. He occasionally watches football and also enjoys competitive games. He is happily married to Mrs. Victoria, and they are blessed with a son. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me make welcome our speaker for our career guidance workshop, Tamunom Yete Orambo. Please, can I see you make him feel welcome in the comment section? Thank you very much, and over to you, Mr. Miete. Thank you very much. Please confirm you can hear me as your mic is still muted, sir. I think you're still muted. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I could hear you. Oh, yeah, just
thank you very much.
a little delay. Good evening, everyone. So you can hear and see me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I will just go straight to it. But first of all, just thank the organizers of this event for the opportunity to speak to us today. One thing to say before I kick off is when it comes to things around interviews and applications and going through the process and everything, it can be very, very interesting, but at the same time daunting, depending on what your experience is. Sometimes it can be very nerve-wracking going through the interview process from beginning to end, job application and everything can be very tiring, to be honest. And a lot of times, most people feel this whole thing is not just subjective. It's not whether they like my face. If they don't like my face, they're not going to take me. So there is an element of that, which is the truth. There are times when certain things we do in the interviews may just impact us negatively or positively. So what we'll do today is just go through the basics, really, of interview processes. And then I'll be drawing from some experiences, some things we've come across in interviews, and then some tips that can help us. Okay, so maybe I'll kick off with the next slide. Go in there.
Simeon, can you please share his slides?
Can't see anything. Is something being shared?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. No, that's fine. I'll just hold on then. Fantastic. Great. Okay. So you can move on from this introduction. So basically, this is an outline of what we'll discuss today. We'll start off just by looking at interview prep. How do you prepare for an interview? Before even talking about the interview itself, what are basic things you should do to prepare? After you've prepared, we'll also look at different kinds of interviews, different types of interviews, and really what the objective of certain interviews are. Because not all interviews are made the same, neither do they have the same objective, okay? And then different approaches to even how you respond to these interviews, that's also key. It's one thing to know the answer, it's another thing how you present the answer. Very important. Then we'll look at some general best practices. What are things you should do during interviews? What are things that are no-nos? Just advise you to stay away from them for your own good. Then we'll just take some time after going through a little bit of this. We'll then look at a few examples, just touch through a few examples, maybe 1 or 2 case studies of things that have happened in the interview space. And then then we'll just go into closing the interviews, after the interview is done, just close it off. And then just maybe a brief touch on some general career tips. Okay? All right, so go to the next slide. So interview prep. Now you've made your application, you filled in the CV, filled in the online application, click the submit button, and you opened your email, and wow, you just got an interview invite. You're excited, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. So now what do I do? So that's what this is about. Good preparation starts with having a handle on your documentation. You fill a lot of things on your CVs, on your cover letters, and the likes when making the application. Now, when you get an interview call or they reach out to you for an interview, it means you've done something right. It means something you've presented on your CV or your application has caught the interest of the employer and they would like to know more. Now, sometimes you may get into the interview and you may forget all the wonderful things you said you have done, or all the wonderful things you said you know how to do on your CV. So it can come off sometimes a bit awkward when you're in the interview and you're waiting for them to ask you the typical interview question. Somebody goes, oh yeah, in your experience, you said in 2006 or 2010, you worked on a project that did this, and that. And then maybe you've even forgotten what exactly you put in there. It's not a good look on you. It then starts to look a bit like, this guy, is he really truthful, or are we missing something? So it's always good to ensure that what it is you present on your cover letter and CV, you have it revised and you just have a handle on it. Then the job description. You looked at the job description before applying for the job. The job description told you what it is they are looking for, and you checked to see that, yes, what they're looking for, I have it. You conveyed that, and that's why you were called. But one other tip you can also look at, in a job description, you have different sections, okay? You have the sections that normally we'll talk about in a good job description. You have a section that will talk about the company, what it does. You have the section that talks about the role you're applying for. What are the responsibilities, accountabilities? Then you have the, what do we need from you? What is it that we, so most of us will zero in on that point, which is correct, which is, oh, they want BSc in this, 2 years experience, knows how to use Microsoft, and the likes. But sometimes a good thing to also take notice of is, what are the job accountabilities? What are the job responsibilities? Before an interview, it's valuable to have a look at that. Because usually the questions in the interviews, and when we get to interview types, you see that the questions in the interviews usually would now revolve around the kind of activities that you'll be required to do. So it's good to familiarize yourself also with the roles and accountabilities. So let's assume you've done that. Now, research. Sometimes, I mean, come on, we know the country. It's not easy, and not just here. You just find yourself throwing CVs left, right, and center, hoping that something bites. And you can't blame anybody for doing that. But what is important is when you've been called for an interview, so this is not a CV workshop, so I wouldn't I can take 1 or 2 questions around working on your CV and what can you do, but the focus here is on you've passed the application, you're at interview. So you've done a lot of all this stuff, and now you're now looking, okay, they've called you for the interview, you're there, and you don't really know what this company does to make money. You really don't really understand much about the industry. You just know that you need a job, and this will need to give you a job. So what is good in your preparation is research. Don't overlook it. You must not know the deep details of the company. I mean, you don't work there. Nobody's expecting you to know that. But it's important to know the basics. Then also, what else can you do? Leverage on networks. You may not know much about the company, but you may know people who work there. You may not know about the specific role, but you know somebody who has recently done something similar, even if not in that company. Leverage your networks. Understand better what are the requirements of such a role, and definitely it would help, and it will show in the interview. And goes without saying, please dress prepared. Not just like you're coming to have some midnight get together with your friends and say you can find an interview. That doesn't work in your favor. So these are general preparation. Now, looking at what are the types of interviews, and we'll look at them a bit more. There are certain things that are done during recruitment, trying to streamline a basket of candidates to a manageable number. One of the first things that usually happens after your CV gets to a company is an initial screening. This can take different forms. Sometimes it can take a desktop form. It's just done in the office. Basically checking through the CV, and they've gone through your CV already, just checking that, okay, does this guy really have what he claims to have? So sometimes this can take the form of a call. This is, sometimes you can just get a random call, and it will be from the company or from the employer, and it's usually brief. It's more like just a quick chat, a quick clarification around certain things. Some people believe or think when this call comes, the interview has started. I've had that happen where I was speaking to a candidate, and the candidate's already, this interview started and you didn't book my calendar. You didn't let me know. I said, no, this is not an interview. It's just an initial call. So things like that are just initial screening to get some clients. Then you have the get to know yous, which are sort of like the next level beyond the initial screen, a bit more, again, not deep stuff, but really more just understanding who you are as a person, as a candidate, and basically your experiences and skills. But then you start getting deeper into things like one-on-one interviews, which is usually where the company now really wants to make a decision. You really want to know, is this a workable candidate? Can we work with this guy? And then you have other kinds of interviews where it may not be one-on-one. You may have something like a panel or an assessment day, things like that. You may even be in a group, and they want to assess you in a different scenario. So these are different kinds of interviews that one can encounter. Next slide, please. So this is just, not to belabor the discussion, but just as I've mentioned, the get to know yous they're usually brief, and they're usually targeted at achieving that second level knowledge about it. My advice here normally is, okay, when we get to ways to respond, but I can also just mention it. In get to know yous, try to be yourself. In every interview, be yourself, but also respond to what you're being asked concisely, obviously, always truthfully, because they're usually just the initial check. The company really wants to know, why did this guy even apply for this role? Some people have applied for things in error, which I've actually also seen, where someone applied and you speak to them and they're like, which company did you say is calling? And you're like, oh, this is XYZ company. You applied for this role 2 months ago, and the person's like, I'm not sure. And I mean, I've even seen a situation where someone has even almost thought that it was a scammer calling them and was like, please, I beg, I don't, and that was the end of the call. So sometimes the company will just want to do that due diligence, because you don't want to waste your time with such a large number. So it's just, these are just some key things to know. It's not usually too deep. Just be truthful, because sometimes certain things you say will be cross-checked with your application. Let's go to the next one. Now what we call the technical interview. In some climes it's called the professional, some other places it's called the functional, all mean the same thing. Now this is the one where, I mean, this is SP, right? So you come in there, you want to be a reservoir engineer, you want to be a production engineer or whatever, you've applied for a role. This is where the company now wants to know. Yeah, they've seen your CV, you've said all manner of fantastic things, but in truth, anybody can write anything on the CV, right? So the company would then want to know, does this guy really have this stuff? And a lot of people who are, a lot of people in this space are usually technically inclined. And I think overall, this is for me the most straightforward part of interviewing. Because if you don't have it, you don't have it. Yes, you can improve on your knowledge, and what you would most likely improve is how you convey your message. But the basic fundamental, if you don't have it, you don't have it. You throw a petroleum engineer in a geophysics or geoscience interview, he's going to flop. Unless for exceptional people, because he doesn't have the stuff. Even if he speaks eloquently and can communicate properly, he's going to flop. So I normally would not take too much time on technical interviews because it's all a matter of what you know, what you have. But it's also key. The key points I will just leave here is, as much as it is a technical interview, you must always be mindful that during such an interview, the interviewer may not always be looking for, does he know the principle behind, does he know the method behind? Or sometimes he may be checking, does he know the method and has he been able to apply it? So that's just something to take away, so you don't get lost in theoretical responses. Okay, so let's move over to the next. And then we have behavioral, structured interview. Both are synonyms, interchangeable. So now these are interviews where the company, they've looked at your technical makeup. You have the stuff. You're Albert Einstein the second. You get? However, are you a fit for the company? Can you work here really? Because a company is, look at the definition of the word. A company is people that make it up. So you're going to check, how does he work? How does he deliver value? How is he able to deal with the kind of things that can prop up on this job? So usually these interviews look at your fit. Just like the statement on the second bullet point. Technically, you may be great, but that does not mean you have the right makeup to succeed on a particular role or in the organization as well. So common things that are normally checked here are things around your ability to analyze information, dealing with things that are complex. You might be dealing with complexity that has nothing to do with petroleum engineering. That's how work is. You may be dealing with very complicated stakeholder management issues that have nothing to do with reservoir simulation or well completion or anything like that, right? So those are things that happen. So these are some other things that have come true, learning from experiences and some others. So let's now move on to, now we have understood a bit more about interview types and what you can encounter. Now, how do we respond? Next slide. Different approaches. When you're asked a question at an interview, there are different approaches to respond. But one I would recommend, which is usually very good, is the STAR method. For those who are not familiar, the STAR method is just basically saying situation. So when you respond, you structure all your answers in this method. You state the situation you were in, or whatever it is was going on in that particular instance. The task, meaning what it is you were required to do. Then what action did you do? And what was the result? You see, when you do this and you logically arrange your answers this way, it helps your interviewer really follow you and understand what it is you're saying, rather than it's just like you want to state it. I'm giving you the summary of a movie, and I just jump straight to the middle of the movie. Yes, and the guy had the gun. He now shot the guy that was wearing the wig. He now fell. You're like, what? Who was wearing the wig? Why was he with the gun? Who? You understand that kind of thing. But if you take this method, you start this in this sequential order, it helps your interviewer follow you sequentially. There are other methods. There's the CAR method, which is a variation of the STAR method. It's more of you state the challenge you were facing. What action did you take? What was the result? It's fine. But my problem with it is it doesn't really show what you were required to do, like your task. It just shows there was a problem, I did this. The question is, were you supposed to do that? So it can be a bit tricky, but still good, works for some. Diggs method, it's a bit more, dramatical, and I wouldn't recommend, but, it's just to let you know what's out there. So one key thing to know is when you're having an interview, they've already seen your CV. They're interested. If not, they wouldn't have called. It's something to note. So it means they are looking for reasons to say, yeah, this guy, we should progress him. Not necessarily looking for a reason to knock this guy off. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So that way you're seeing a positive view of your interviewer. So you doing this is helping your interviewer see the value you bring, right? So something that's important to know is, like it's bold in the last bullet point here, says, how you respond is just as important, if not more, than what it is you are responding. So that's something to know. You might be the best engineer in the world and dissect all the, give them all the equations and all the theories. But if you're not able to communicate it in a way that, whoever you're speaking to can follow, most times you might end up losing them. Next slide. So this is a general look around. During interviews, what are some best practices? Now we've shown you how to respond this way, structure it in this way. We'll take a few examples just to, buttress the point. And then further research after here would be helpful. But some general do's and don'ts, and I'll look at the do's and then go over to the don'ts. So for a do, please listen attentively and seek clarification where any question is unclear. I give you an example. Sometimes there was a time we were interviewing a candidate, and some people are very good at talking, right? And it can be an anchor sometimes during interviews. Though it's good to be able to be eloquent, but sometimes because you love talking, you can't wait to start talking. So you see a situation where they've asked you a question going in one direction, and the person has already started going blah 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 blah. And my co-interviewer is like, you don't want to be rude, but at the same time, some interviewers will just cut you, to be honest. Just tell you, this is what was asked. So by that time, you're not trying to recover your step and regain. You just lost some time, So it's important, if you are taking the time to listen. If you were not sure of the question, please ask. It even shows a level of, the way you carry yourself and, the level of diligence you want to really understand. Of course, we've said this already. No need to repeat it. Do your research. I've been in interviews where, out of the blue, an interviewer just asked someone for the company we're recruiting for and said, what are the different sub-companies that this business runs? And the person was like, well, how many do you know? What do they do? What other affiliates? But yes, you know the one you came for, but you don't even know there were other affiliates. So it just kind of looked like, it can be forgiven, but it almost looks like, is it really that much interest, or is it just looking for work? However, it didn't stop the candidate from, because he did well later on, but it's just something that, so it doesn't throw you off. It's where research comes in. Answer questions concisely. respond to what was asked. They start to the first thing, just appropriately, as we've mentioned. A practice run helps, especially for common interview questions. Now, do not be robotic and just give pre-recorded type answers. The interviewer will know. Ask you a question, and me, if I just start giving it like you just crammed one textbook, and things just coming up back like that, it sounds monotonous. It kind of comes off obvious. But a practice run does help ease the nerves. Of course, be punctual. It goes without saying. It's a very bad look when your interviewers are ready, your panel is ready, and they're looking for you. They say, "Oh, I'm on the road. I'm about to." The poor first impression. Please do not fabricate stories. This is very tempting. I assure you, this is very tempting. Especially when they ask you a question where you don't really have that kind of experience to share. It's very tempting to use dishonest answers. But I tell you, your interviewers, because you submitted a lot of things and there's time between interviews, right? Some things do not add up, but your interviewer will not tell you. Just go through your profile, go through what you're saying, try to check with some probing questions to follow up, and already you've thrown yourself off without you being told. Sometimes you're asked about your previous employer. Please don't speak negatively. Even if you did have a negative experience, moderate your responses. You don't want someone feeling like he worked in company A and he said that, oh, that company is all, they are full of it. They are terrible, they are evil, they are this and that. Every company has their issues. The person starts thinking, this person comes here now for some reason. You start talking negatively about us. So keep that to a minimum as much as possible. When you have time gaps in your experience, be truthful. Have explanations ready. Oh, you weren't working between here and here. Don't come and fabricate and I was on sabbatical when through. Let me say your employment was cut. Say it as it is. Good employers would not play that against you. For virtual and phone interviews, obviously, monitor your environments. Because a lot of things are virtual these days, right? Not everything is face-to-face. Some will be face-to-face, some are a hybrid of them. So it's good to understand virtual interview etiquette. And also, again, don't rush to respond and be conscious to whatever you are being asked. That way it shows that your communication skills are. Okay? All right.
Okay.
I hope I'm doing time.
Yes, I think you just have about 5 minutes left. So thank you.
So we're going straight to the examples, which can be done within 5 minutes. So let's go to the examples now. So now we've looked at all the different things. Now we're going to look at sample question. What kind of questions? What do they look like? Skill. If you're like, there are certain questions that will not be applied to certain levels of experience. When you start to see things like, when was the recent time you used whatever competence? This is on technical now. Whatever competence to deliver a key project. Things like this normally are testing people who have a little bit of experience, maybe a bit junior or senior. It really is kind of wide. But when it's asking you technical things like, what do you understand by social principle? Material balance, seismic inversion, or stuff like that. Usually would be for people like young grads or junior people to test their foundational knowledge. But then there are also questions that can come in a scenario base. These are usually for experienced people. For example, you're the petroleum engineer for a field development project. The challenge is this. Your resources are this. How best would you? Things like that are, would I say, more for experienced people. Remember the STAR method. I'll give you a sample answer. Let's say for the first one now, when was the recent time you used reservoir simulation to deliver a key project? Okay, I can remember a time. Situation, that's the S. I was a junior engineer in an asset team. You've given the situation, and we were working on a project that had to be delivered in 6 months. You've built some kind of situation. What's the next thing? Task. What were you required to do? I was in charge of making key data inputs into the reservoir simulation model. And I had to do this within so time frame. You've built the task. Now, you have built the task that you had to do. If there was a challenge, that would have come in the, that can either come in the task or in the situation by stating that, okay, no, this is not a challenge question. You just asked the time you used it. So you've stated that. So start. So next thing now is action. So you told them what you were supposed to do. But then maybe the challenge was the amount of time required to make the data inputs was now cut short due to a project timeline review. So rather than 6 months, it was now 4 months. And I had a short time to deliver. So what I did was, then you state the next thing. I now had to leverage on my network of colleagues, discussed with my line manager on the help required to deliver within the time frame. Then we were able to reallocate resources and get support. I delivered my bits, so time, and the other bits were managed within the team. And at the end of the day, we met our project deadline or exceeded our project deadline. In doing this now, you followed the STAR method, and you've also demonstrated, one, you recognize timelines, you know how to adapt to changing situations. Collaboration, you're quite good at that because you're able to leverage your networks to deliver business value. You see how in a simple answer, without going all over the world, you've been able to demonstrate certain skills using this term. So that was just to give an example of the kind of responses that help your case. We won't go through everything, we didn't plan to, but just to give an example. Go to the next slide. Behavioral, as we've mentioned before. These are typical examples. How do you deal with a difficult situation? Every question in an interview has a competence or an ability it's looking for. Your duty as the candidate is to try to understand, why are they asking me this question? If you're able to get that, take for instance, okay, you've given an example with, I wanted to say problem 3, but we just give a similar example. You've shown certain abilities. Okay, question 4 now, for example, 4 or 1. Have you ever disagreed with your team? A question like this now is not checking your technical ability. It's checking, how do you manage relationships? How do you manage stakeholders? So things like this, again, you will not say, yes, I've disagreed with my team before in the past. No, that's not it. Again, the STAR method. You place the situation. We were in a so team. This was the situation. This was that. The disagreement came from a colleague saw a different method of applying the process. I felt this way. My task was to do this and do that. I don't know if you understand where I'm going. That way, at the end of the day, what you would be demonstrating was, how did you resolve the conflict? How did you get to an amicable solution? And it must not be amicable. There are situations where you did not see eye to eye. You can still state that. What is key is, what did you do and how did you manage? Right? Okay. And then I think we have 2 more slides. We'll just be ending at this point. If you come down, next slide. Okay. So those were some example questions, just to give you a flavor of interview questions and responses. What we have here, just 2 case studies from experience, where in this case, we had a candidate who was interviewing for a commercial role and is on seeking clarity. So this was a question where we were asking if you had disagreed with a colleague. And this person went on, I was talking about, the person cited an example where there was a strategic shift in the previous employer's fund, managing fund or something of that nature. And then bullet point 2 is the key thing that went off. The person just kept on going, was going off tangent. In his mind, he was, really answering the question, but was speaking about how fantastic the idea he came up with, how it was going to make the company a lot of money, but remember the question. Remember what I said before. Why are you being asked the question? It's not just about answering and talking plenty. If they're asking you about a time you disagree with a colleague, it should trigger your mind to know they're trying to check how you manage relationships. So trying to now paint yourself as this fantastic thinker who has fantastic ideas, you're missing it. Luckily, the interviewer was able to redirect the candidate to help the candidate respond better. If the candidate sought clarity earlier, probably would have caught that. Then the last case study. Next slide. Dishonest answers. This was a situation where there was a project managing role, and the question was around working under pressure, significant pressure. The example the candidate used was something around a project the person had managed before in the past, somewhere in West Africa. And then was given a very fantastic story and everything. But the problem was that the difficult situation that was presented was so unbelievable. It was so far-fetched. I tell you, it was not short, something was short of it, but they could have made a Hollywood movie on that script. And when you use certain examples where your interviewers look at each other with one kind of eye, like, what's going on here? And then unknown to you, they are checking your CV and checking some of the information. But the information you are now coming up with is not aligning with what you had said you had done in the past, or the locations you had worked already. You see that you're already missing it. And in this situation, that person was just dumped in the rejection part, which was quite unfortunate. So please always be honest in your responses. If you don't have answers, you can ask for a little bit of more time to think through similar responses, but never fabricate. Okay, so that's really it around the interviews. The last bit is just closing interviews. I know I'm overrunning my time, but I'll be ending soon. Closing interviews, always prepare questions ahead of time. Ask questions to your interviewers, and always seek to know what are the next expected steps in the interview process. Don't ask unnecessarily personal or vague questions. Ask questions that are reasonable with the interviewer, and also know what are the next things. And then lastly, just a slide. This is the last slide. Just saying, now you've gotten the job, you've gone through a successful interview. Few points to consider while starting a new job or a new career. Always leverage the experience of senior colleagues. They've been there, they've done that, they've made mistakes. Don't repeat their mistakes. Learn from senior colleagues for both technical and non-technical things. Any avenue on the job to build yourself professionally, take them, ask questions. Understand what value looks like to whoever your boss is. Because sometimes what you think is valuable and you're busy working on, your boss does not even see that. It's always good to have aligned goals with your line. And always grow and maintain your networks within and outside the organization. So these are just some general tips for this. So I would say with this, thank you very much. And open for any questions you may have.
Wow. I think if this was a virtual physical session, I think I would just give a round of applause. But I think we can still do that. Thank you very much, Mr. Tamuna. Thank you. Please, can I see us reflect that this was an inspiring session, just like it was for me in the comment section. Thank you. Thank you so much for this. So just a recap on some of the things that you've said, and I think I'll start from one of the last things that you said, that every question has a competence that is being tested, and it is the responsibility of the person being interviewed to understand why that question, right, is being asked. And you mentioned that every good interview begins with a proper handle of documentation, research, how well you're able to leverage your network, and then how prepared or how you present yourself to the interview committee. And also you went on to mention types of interview, the get to know yous, and then the technical, professional, or functional kinds of interviews, right? And you gave tips on how to respond or ways to respond. There was a STAR method, the card, and then the DIGS method. And you also stated which was quite preferred for a particular situation, and the pros and cons of some of these methods, which was also a good thing. For some tips, yes, I respond concisely, direct to the point, listen, seek clarification where you've missed out on, be punctual, be yourself, and do not get lost. I think I would end with this. Do not get lost in having that technical knowledge or the theoretical knowledge. Also know how to apply that technical knowledge. Indeed, I would say it was a masterclass. Thank you very much, Mr. Taminon Nyete. Very quickly before we take on questions, I would like to just use this moment to welcome and then thank our senior members, our board members, section directors who joined this call. Some of them are still present, and we are really, really glad that you could join us today. We have SD Alhaji Othman Mohammed on the call. We have SD Sir Lawrence Osakwe. We have Sir Sahid Oloso. We have Dr. Jude, who's a board member, Mrs. Ella Muzan, Israel Kennedy, the section secretary, and Wamaka Pauline, Justice Vidigo. We have Obianuju, essentially the student affairs chair, Madam Tombari. Thank you so much. And we have Dr. Dubrisi, of course, who is the career guidance chair, and our SC. Thank you very much for joining this call. Thank you so much. So very quickly, we'll go on to taking questions. So if you have questions, please do well to use the raise hand function, and then I will give you the privilege of coming up to speak. And also, if you could type in your questions in the chat box, please go ahead to do that. So I think while the session was on, we had one question coming in from Livingstone. I think it's something we had a few thumbs up on the question, showing how important it is. So Livingstone said, what's the best strategy to go about salary negotiation during an interview? I think you'd want to take that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks. All right, yeah, it's a valid question. So I would start by saying the thing with salary negotiations is you need to be sure you have been given the job. I've had a situation where just at initial screening, someone's already talking about what they want to be paid. And you have to slow the person down to be like, hello, we're not there yet. That kind of thing. So that's something that's key. Know where you are in the interview stage and be sure you are being sought out. The company wants you, right? So you don't quickly price yourself out. Now let's assume that has been secured. You are the person that, you've been told, hey, we want you, here's the job. Your salary negotiation, first of all, do not take a salary that is below your current earning. That's a no-brainer. Every company would understand that a candidate, you're convincing me to come to your company. So definitely, I shouldn't be getting less than what it is I'm earning. You have to give me an incentive to come. Second of all, if a salary negotiation, I would normally say do not initiate. Receive an offer. Then you're doing what is called a counter offer. So this is a situation where you wait for the offer to come. Then you can then respond on it by saying, let me give you a typical example, which I have seen, where a candidate was given an offer. If I was the one who gave the candidate the offer, and the guy then goes to say, thanks for the offer. However, with the current economic situations in the country, my years of experience, I believe I should be paid this much. Now, don't be afraid to negotiate. Negotiation isn't wrong. However, like I said, receive an offer first, be sure you're the candidate. Then you can then build your negotiation based on something. It's not that I offer you 5 million naira a year. You now look at it and say, this salary is too small. Give me 7 million. Why? Do you understand? You can ask for whatever you want. If I give you 5 million, you can say, no, I want 15 million. Oh, no, you can ask for whatever you want. The question is, what's the basis for what you're asking for? Make a compelling case. If you have more years of experience and you believe market value, you should be paid more, make a case. You can, I mean, like this guy who brought in the economic thing, that was a new one for us. I mean, we had normally seen people play it on their professional experience, but have a basis for it. But don't be too fast to negotiate. Don't be too fast to talk on salary, especially when an offer has not been made, right? Some people would say, whatever they give you, take it. I would say, no, always push. The worst they would say is, sorry, it's not negotiable, take it or leave it. But always ask, especially if you believe you're underpaid or if you're being given a not good enough, right? I hope that helps.
Yes, it sure does. And I think that was just a spot on answer. Do not take yourself out of the interview process. Know where you are in the interview, confirm you are the candidate, receive an offer, and don't be afraid to negotiate. And also have valid reasons on which you are negotiating. I think that was just the right answer for that question. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any more questions from our participants. If there is any, please use the raise hand button. I don't think I can see anyone with their hands raised. If there is none, I would go on. I'll just Okay, so we have a question from Idika Trust God. When a job opening specifies age limits and years of experience, if your age is above the stated range with less number of years of experience, should I go ahead to apply? So the age is above the age requirement, but then within years of experience, if I get the question correctly, should he go ahead to apply?
Okay, it's not an interview question, it's a job application question, but I'll take a stab at it. In all honesty, I am, how would I put this? I am torn into ways to respond here. From the side of a recruiter, I would say, yeah, if I'm speaking as a recruiter now, I would not want you to apply because I already have an age limit or I have years of experience limit. And I would say, you know what, if you don't meet the criteria, why did you apply? Now, on my human side, I'll say give it a shot. Give it a shot when, take for example, they ask for 5 years experience. You have 3 years experience. Give it a shot. Age limitation depends on the company. I mean, age limitation is a subjective thing in HR space because of discrimination and certain other issues. So I may not want to go into that too much, but I would say, depending, I mean, certain age limits should not really be a barrier to stop people from some jobs. But there are reasons why age brackets are looked at. But if it's in years of experience, give it a shot. I mean, some job descriptions, to be honest, are wish lists by employers. The employer already knows. The chances of getting a candidate that fills this criteria 100% is very slim. So they will usually go for the best fit. So that keyword of best fit, you may just be the best fit with your 3 years experience because you may come with a whole other bag of skills and abilities that are valuable to the employer relative to the competition. So yeah, in certain cases where, do apply. But please, I did not say when they say 20 years experience, you will not go and you come with 2 years experience and apply. You will not say that Method told you, give it a shot. Please, that one is a waste of everybody's time. So just apply some wisdom to this. All right.
Yes, thank you very much, Metia. I think that answers Boluwatife's question as well. Bringing a 1-year experience for a 3 to 5 year experience job. Right. And I think during the presentation, you said something, right? One of the things recruiters would do is to streamline the the amount of applications they have, and that's where the initial screening comes in, checking to be sure that people that go on to the next phase are people that are best fits, just like you earlier mentioned. And I think that really answers the question. So thank you very much, Mete, for your time. And it was great to have you speak to us today on excelling at interviews and also giving us best practices, do's and don'ts. I feel that was a particular slide for me that made so much sense. These things we take them as being so simple, but then they could tell a whole lot about how prepared we are about the interview and how ready we are for it. So thank you so much for your time. Very quickly, we would go on to the next item on our agenda. And that would be our photograph session. So at this point, I would like to beacon on everyone on the call. Please turn on your cameras and apologies, Samuel. I think I'm just seeing your hands raised. Apologies that we can't take your question at this time because of our time. But you could always, I'm sure Mete would be more than happy and willing to share his thoughts with you. So you could, perhaps connect with him on LinkedIn and, follow up with your questions, or you could drop it in the chat box. And if he's disposed, he would assist with giving a response to that. Yes, thank you very much. So I can see our videos coming up. So quickly, Simeon, you could just help us and let us know when you have gotten our pictures. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we still have more videos coming up.
Okay, I can see our faces.
Seconds.
I think we can keep the smiles coming up. Yes, I can see our SD, Alhaji Othman. Good to have you on the call once again, sir. I can see Engineer Isioma, Kimberly and family. Yes, I can see you. Thank you. Joshua, Frank, Kelvin, Ifani. Yes. Ofure, I can see you. Give us a big smile. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin. I think we still have a few videos still coming up. Simeon, just let me know when we are good.
Okay, we are good.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Simeon, you can go on to share your screen so we take the next item. Okay, I think our next item will be announcements. Okay, yes, thank you. So it's time for the announcements. I think I'll just go on to take this. So yes, today is day 2 of the Section 103 Port Harcourt SPE week. Yes, and our theme for this week still remains the evolving role of oil and gas in achieving a balanced transition. Yesterday we had our opening ceremony and panel session, and today, this is our career guidance and finance workshop. We have, upcoming events. It's a power-packed week. It's a special week at that. We have our sections chairpersons cup, the maiden edition. It's a football match between the young professionals and senior members, and I am so much looking forward to this. It's happening tomorrow at N12, opposite Benjak by Stadium Road. So it's happening by 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. Yes, and I'm looking forward to the result of that game. I would not want to say much to that because our senior members are on the call, but I believe the YP gets my direction. So yes, the team for The SC Cup is Game Changers playing for a purpose, scoring for a cause. And I believe the YPs will be scoring for many causes tomorrow. So I look forward to having us there. Okay, 4:30 p.m. at N12. And on Thursday, we'll be having the annual Students Energy Conference. So Thursday and Friday, we'll be having this conference specifically for our students. We have leadership forum, we have keynote speech, we'll have a panel session as well for our students. Also, there'll be lots of contests, Petro Quest, Energy Challenge, student paper contest, and of course, the students chapter contest as well for our students. So on the 7th and 8th of December. And on Saturday morning, we'll be having our Walk for Life. Yes, by 7 a.m. would converge at Christian Council College, number 1 Elekaya Road, and that's where we are kicking off the Walk for Life. Our team is Hygiene for a Healthier, Cleaner Society, aligning with SDGs 3 and 6. We look forward to having you at the Walk for Life, as we'll be sensitizing, our society here in Port Harcourt, people from the Rumomasi community, the need for hygiene. And later that evening on Saturday by 4:30 p.m. would have our dinner and awards night, where we'd recognize senior members, organizations that have been, very much supportive to the section, and also we would also be giving awards to the section outgoing section leadership. We'll be having our section leadership handover as well. There'll be SP Got Talent, a lot of fun, dance, and also our YP charity project presentation. Starting the red carpet by 4:30 p.m. and it's holding at Kasoni International Hotel. And on Sunday, to bring the SP week to a wrap, we'll be having the SP Street Children Party, and it's happening at St. Peter's Catholic Church, Azwabi, on Sunday, the 10th of December. We look forward to seeing you at all of these events. Do well to follow us on our socials so that you get more information on this, joining links, as well as reminders. If you have not registered for any of these events, do well to register so you get notifications and reminders as these events approach. Thank you very much. I think it's time for our closing remarks. And we'll be welcoming our section director. Okay, yeah, so I think we have a section director on the call. Yes, I can see Alhaji Mohammed Othman, and his video is up. So please, we would love if you could do us the honors to give us a closing remark.
Yeah, okay. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the two presenters. The two presentations were really out and timely. So I believe I saw all the comment from everyone is very enriching, very enlightening. And this is what we are in SPE. So we give enlightening and teaching, giving knowledge to our members from the student YPs and even the senior members. So we really appreciate the two presenters, the moderators, and then the section chair for putting all this together, and the organizing committee for the SPE week. So we appreciate all, and we hope to see you all for the remaining programs. So thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you very much, SD. And just like you heard, we are all looking forward to seeing you at the remaining events, and see you there. See you tomorrow at N12. Thank you for joining in. Simeon, I think you could give us the national anthem as we end today's meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Simeon, and thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Have a beautiful night's rest. Thank you.